Hello, lovely energy dynamic experimenters, light workers, earth walkers, anyone who is finding this channel, welcome. I hope you like it. Click like, subscribe, that's free. If you leave a little comment, it all helps push this stuff out. So I'm Adhpa, that's a name I use for this channel. What I do is try to share what I have learned along the way in my life about the reality of the field that connects all living things. So just like the ocean is a field of water that connects everything that lives in it, so is the environment and the air that we live in. It's just a field. It's a continuity field, and this is scientific. You can use your cell phone because it's a field, and the signal can travel through the field as directed under certain constraints. So this field exists, but we as humans do not really recognize it or understand the implications of it. We're starting to, because we have wireless technology that has opened up the way we think about it. But when you take it to the depths, it's really quite scientific and quite simple to explain field dynamics, and particularly a field such as exists that throughout the entirety of the universe as we understand it, and also miniature fields that exist within that, such as a galactic system or a solar system or even a planetary system, can have their own types of specific fields. And Earth, for instance, has the unique situation in our solar system, as far as we're aware, certainly not in the universe, but we have a situation where we have an atmosphere on this planet that allows a physical life field between the sky and on the planet for carbon-based life forms like ourselves to flourish. And that is specifically, that field is generated because of atmosphere and the sun and everything out there in the universe that makes the Earth the Earth. So we, by understanding this field, may actually come to understand some things about spirituality and human energy that has been alluded to in many religious texts, but the science has not been there to explain it. But I think when we look at field dynamics, suddenly we have the science to explain it. And that is because this field, if you want to think of it, I call it a life field, but it is actually, what it is a continuity field, a coherency continuity field. That means that within this field of the universe, let's call it the field of the universe, factors come together energetically that allow things to cohere into form. Stars, planets, solar systems, that's a level of coherency you see in the universal field that allows planets, these forms, to cohere and then stabilize. So that's really the function of how physical forms come out of field. So you have field energy. This can be wave energy, it can be particle energy, but there is a coherency to that field that allows physical objects, physical presence, to cohere. Well, the same coherence field affects us on Earth. So here's my theory. I'm going to make it real quick, and then we're going to throw cards on it to see what the tarot has to tell us about this theory. So in my concept, the Earth field, the carbon-based life form field, functions at 6 coherency levels. Now, these levels are not actual points, they're just ranges in a continuum, right? So, continuity is a continuum. It may be not linear, but it is a continuum. So it doesn't break. There's no break in the field. The field exists in a continuous form, although it fluctuates and does not have to be linear and can fold. And there are many things about that field that are not, it's not a flat field. Right? It's no more flat than the earth, this field. So within that, there are 6 levels, though, that you can identify for coherency in physical beings. So the first level is going to be level 1, and that is a level of coherency in which a physical form can't actually form. So that might be what you call empty space, if you're looking at it scientifically, right? So the cosmic dust that makes up empty space is the lowest level of coherency in a coherency field. And that is of intelligences, because you have to understand intelligence is not just a human concept or a human characteristic. Intelligence is a function of being coherent. So when you reach certain levels of coherency, there is an intelligence there. And there is an intelligence at coherency 1, but it's not strong enough or coherent enough to stay in physical form. It can occasionally, because it's a range. So the best way I can explain this to how this translates to living forms on Earth is you might think of this as ghosts or demons or dark myths. You see something, they don't really form into physical form. The presence is really dark. You might feel a lot of fear energy around it. And there's a reason for that. But that is your low coherence. Now, I'm going to call these COHOs. So COHO 1s are entities that are connected to the life field, which is love. The whole continuity field is a higher vibration, Christ energy, love, nurturing. That's why things live. It's a loving field. So these lowest COHO 1s, they are attached to that life field, but they can't interpret it. They can't perceive it because they can't perceive it. So all they perceive really is fear. And so for that reason, they can't ever cohere into physical form, because fear is not real in the continuity field. It's an artifact. It's not part of the field. It's just a little artifact that sort of comes out of it. That when people cling on to, or entities hold to, makes them lose coherence. Okay, so level 2 coherence are beings that can actually hold physical form. They are attached to the life field, but they really have trouble interpreting it as love. So they can love themselves. They understand that very selfishly, but they can't understand anything else in the field, right? There's no respect. There's also a real tendency to hold to fear, right? Like because they can't see love as going outward, they can only love inwardly. They're always afraid of losing that. So they hold to fear. And these are really maladaptive physical beings, mostly humans. Call them COHO2s. These are your narcissists, your serial killers, your Sarah Boones, Lori Vallow. And the thing is about all coherent energies, they're all connected entirely to the coherent field. So they all have the opportunity to intuit or learn or know things from that field. But COHO2s, like the Lori Vallow and the Sarah Boones, they think they know. They think they know, but because they don't understand the whole connection to the field, they can't interpret that data, so they'll always get it wrong. So Lori Vallow Daybell will declare till the day she dies that God speaks to her. Well, that's just the field. It speaks to everyone. Welcome to reality. But she interprets it through that selfish thing that means she has to be a translated being, things no one else can be. She's so disconnected. And of course, that is a lack of coherency. And so what will end up happening to these type of people generally is they fragment. So they get so incoherent, someone beats the shit out of them or something, and they're gone. You know, they hit the wall. That's what happens. You fragment, hit the wall with your own stupidity because you're holding on to fear, and you won't recognize that love goes out to the whole field. You won't see the reality around you. But that's a low coho too. That's a coho too. They can come up, and just like any of us, it's a choice. Coho 3s are where most humans are. These are connected to the love field. They often will be selfish with it. They try to send it out, but they don't actually respect that the rest of the life field exists either. So they may say they do, but then they'll kill an ant meanly, or they'll see a spider and freak out and kill it. That's in the life field. You just murdered something in the life field with absolutely no care or concern for any consequences to the rest of the life field. So that's not respect. So you can kill the spider, but respectfully killing the spider is recognize as you do it who it is, what it contributes, and what you're choosing to remove from the life field. And you take responsibility for that. Right? So you have to honor that spider or mosquito. They're all in the life field. So if you don't have that respect, you cannot get clear interpretations of intuition. And this is where all your false prophets are. They're all out there. Oh, we talk to God. Oh, I get the dreams. And they do. They do. But they can't interpret them. Because again, they're interpreting them through selfishness, through bias, and they'll get it wrong. It will not be correct. And I don't care how nice they are. And they will appear to be very nice. But ask them what they will do if a spider drops in front of them. Okay? So as soon as they disrespect that spider, coho 3. Nothing you can do about it. It's up to them. They have to look around and figure out everybody's connected. And we all are here by divine right of consciousness. We all get to be here. You don't get to say who's right, who's wrong. You can say, I'm right, I'm wrong, and you can work on this. This is what you can work on. That's it. All right, so coho 3s, that's most humans. Coho 4s are people who have respect. They're connected to the life field. They understand how to love themselves, but they also understand to love everything else. They can see it. They can see the reality of it. They're connected to it. And so coho level 4s is the optimum level for physical life, for abundant, sustainable physical life. And most beings function at level coho 4 except for humans. Humans struggle with this, but we can, and many do. And some of us do it for a while, and then we fall back into fear. It's always fear that is going to drag you back to coho 3 and below. Anyone who expresses more than immediate fear, who can't who can't get on with it beyond that, or who seeks out fearful things to cling to, these are coho 3 levels and below. Because once you get to coho 4, that fear is simply a flag for your body telling you to pay attention to something else, and you immediately pay attention to that something else. You don't hold to the fear. And you don't go looking for fear where it's not necessary, because it's an energetic anchor. It's going to take you down to cosmic dust. So coho 4s are light workers, people who are truly giving accurate prophetic information, that you know that person is going to honor even the mosquito that's annoying them in front of you. You know, so these are rarer people. There are a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them reading right now out there. So I highly recommend that. There's a lot of readers who've been in Coho 3 that are leveling up to Coho 4 now. So don't ever give up on someone just because they're down in their fear, because we choose this and we can come up. And every human on the planet has access to this field. No one can take it from you. We're all getting the information. Coho 5s. Coho 5s are entities that maybe aren't so stable in life forms, and that's because they are so connected to the continuity field, they experience out of body. So when a person has an NDE, they're at a Coho 5. When you have a visionary experience, you're experiencing Coho 5. There are people who live this way, mystics, you know, and potentially the Dalai Lama, for instance, as a representative of that today. We all can go into it from time to time. I myself in ceremony often find myself in that Coho 5 state. Coho 6 then, the highest level, are the highest coherency entities. And what's interesting is at that point, they no longer need physical form in a sense. They exist. They can take physical form when they need it. Some take them for longer periods of time than others. Some may have a physical entity here, but they also have a non-physical entity that's sort of separate and operational for it. So you can think of this for like maybe grass species. So you might have plant elemental entities that are energetic energies, intelligences that actually belong to the grass, but you experience them as little lights floating about here and there. You might see when you look at the sky and you look at the clouds and you see these formations that are so rich in detail and showing you things. Well, that's not an accident. You know, that's Coho 6 entities taking the physical form of a cloud to show you something. So some of these entities at Coho 6, 5, and 6, you know, you might be calling them ETs and all kinds of things these days. They're quite natural to the coherency field. They may or may not be from other planetary systems. Most of them have been here, right here, in the system ever since Earth got atmosphere, I suspect. All right, so that's my long run on it. Now I'm going to throw some cards and just see what the cards have to say about this theory of the coherency of the continuity field with Adhpa. Thanks. Hold tight. I'll bring you down. All righty, so we're going to use the golden Art Nouveau Tarot for this reading, and we'll use the chakra cards for clarifiers. I have already shuffled, but we'll do a few last shuffles here and pull out, see what pops out. We want to look at what the cards can tell us about the 6 levels of coherency and the continuity field of the universe. What can the cards tell us about this? What do the cards want to show us? See, when you're working with the cards this way, you're working with this energy and allowing some of these other coherent beings to, you know, give guidance, help with even with the cards. They can do that. See, I got these wanting to come, so that's what's going to come. Take those in that order. And clarifiers. What do the clarifiers have to show us on this reading about the levels of coherency, the 6 levels of coherency? What Clarifiers show us this. Let's have our clarifiers. All right, we'll take those. Okay, let's see what we got. For our signifier, we get the Two of Wands. So, this is about, given this question we're asking, what can they tell us? This is how to look at the world. I mean, it's literally saying this is about coming together in our passions, people figuring things out, starting to see things the same way. But given what we're asking about in the picture, I would say it's the signifier. We want to know how this applies to the world as it was, or how we see the world. Clarified by, oh, interesting, victim. So I'm going to say what this is saying is that right now we're victims of the way we look at the world. Challenge is the King of Wands. That's about directing the external passions. And that's what I was saying about the cohorts. People are always challenged by the idea that everything is connected and related. And to keep that in your mind and hold it. So we're challenged by directing that awareness out in the world. We're also challenged by people that direct the external passions and, rev people up, get them fighting with each other. And that's clarified by mysticism. This is what I was saying. So if you have a lot of coho 3s out there, people who don't really have respect, telling you how it all is, and, they're the mystics. Real translations are hard to get through. There are people who can give you good interpretations, but they're harder to find. And I think that's what this is saying. The challenge of this new way is being able to tell who gets decent interpretation and who doesn't. The base of this, what we can control, is strength. We have control over how strong we are in the life field and working with this. No one else really can take that. No one. So we have control of that strength, as clarified by self-worth. See, we get hung up on thinking our self-worth is not just a reflection of all the relations. So when you feel bad, it's because all the earth field feels bad. It's crying with you because so many people won't recognize their real relations. Like, you feel lonely and cut off. The whole earth field feels lonely and cut off from humans. Recent events that are changing things or affecting things now. Four of Wands. People have come together recently. There's a commitment and agreement in these passions. There's a shifting. It's like streams have come together, even where there was left and right. When it comes to a president that's a pedophile, that's murdering people on the open seas, that clearly has a history going back to 1989 of working with a pedophile who seems to have made his whole business on laundering money and building a criminal set of billionaires, people who could not make their money honestly, people who had to money launder, evade taxes, steal your money, and apparently did it by laundering it through Donald Trump's properties. These people were working with MBS before 9/11. That's public record. That's fact. And while this is set for entertainment only, the reality of what's becoming clear is that the people on the left and the right who are just us, who are hurting, who wanted real change, are suddenly all coming together, realizing, oh, he is the deep state we were warned about. And they just took it over and took your treasury from you. So people have come together. This won't stand because recent events affecting things now have people committed together. This is bringing an awareness and an understanding that crosses all lines. As clarified by balance, no matter how a person tells you they're going to do for you, when they have no respect, it shows. And they'll never do for you if they have no respect. They'll always do for themselves. Donald Trump is a COHO too. A COHO too. What we can't control is the Two of Swords. Decision has to be made. There's no more getting away from this. This is so clear. It is so clear in people's passions. They feel it internally. They know. Can't control the decision that has to be made. It's clarified by completion. The end. This is a burial. We have to bring it to an end. Decision has to come to end it. But it's also in this reading about we cannot control when we end this journey, right? Whether you end up a COHO 6 or COHO 1. But I'll tell you this, even with the COHO 1, even with a ghost, there is always a piece that can ascend to the light because this is part of the field itself. So when a COHO 1 ghost gets help from a COHO 4 or above being, it can ascend to the light. That's why people can talk ghosts into going to the light. But you have to address their fears, because fear is always the anchor. So what this is saying in here is we can't control when the choice will be made for this ending. Right? You can never control when you're going to have to make the choice to level up your COHO. Like drop the fear, cut it away. But the same applies to the whole political system and everything. So we can't control that, but it's going to happen. What we are currently manifesting with our intent is Ace of Cups. We're bringing in a new continuity, a new coherence, a new energy, a new beginning. We're done with the thieves and pedophiles and COHO 2s trying to run the world. We're not going to take it. And that's clarified by passion. It's a new passion. This is a new passion for relationship. This is a new passion for love. This is a new passion for reality. Where we stand in relation to it, King of Pentacles. We direct the exterior well-being of the field. That's in our hands. Every individual that connects in COHO 4 and above is creating the abundance and the well-being for the whole life field. And that's clarified by complacency. This a problem with this, of course, is if we're in that position and we don't do it, we're being complacent in our jobs as stewards. And really, I think that people are seeing themselves with this right now. They've used religion and all kinds of things to push the blame off on anyone else. But when you come down to it, well-being depends entirely upon your ability to integrate respect. And that's up to us. And you can't ever let it fail, right? So it's okay to get scared by the spider. It's okay to get scared by the snake. That's just a response. But it's not okay to just kill them when you feel that. You have to understand what that's telling you. And then if you decide you have to dispatch that particular creature, well, it's no different than dispatching a human. So you really must consider whether you have that right. That's real coherence in the field. Environment in which we sit, Queen of Swords. This is a reality and truth, you see, because when you don't function with respect, you will defragment eventually to COHO 2, COHO 1, and out. There's no way around it. If you're going to hold on to fear, and you're also not going to be respectful, you're going to self-sabotage yourself. And in these days and age, it's going to happen fast. Karma is going to cut you from within immediately. Like you manifest ill health in your own body. That's what happens. Instinct is the clarifier. There is an instinctual truth that is all around us now, that we are being complacent in our stewardship. Hopes and fears, 10 of Cups. Yeah, we want to achieve all the energy. We want the whole connection and happy families. But if you don't even recognize the other ones are families, how do you expect you to have happy family? Right? We're all in this together. And there's hope and there's fear in that. Because we're at an impasse. You want your happy families, but you don't want anyone else to have happy families. That's an impasse. Can't reach the level. You know, that's the fear. People don't think they can get there. They can't give up the selfishness. Well, maybe. But the outcome is going to be 8 of Pentacles. People are working on mastering this well-being. Doesn't mean the sun's gonna rise tomorrow and all will be perfect in the world and all the COHO 2s trying to destroy you will be gone. It doesn't work like that. We have to work on this. We have to build this respect into our daily lives. And then we have to interpret our intuition with reason. Reason. You have to use the little gray cells too. Yes, the intuition comes through the heart. But if it's not bounded and modulated by respect and assessed with reason, they'll trick you. The unseeds will say, this one's too stupid. Let's take it to a wall. We're tired. You know, I mean, essentially, you sabotage yourself. So it's a daily working on it. We work on mastering it. And that's what's going on for all of humanity, as clarified by Quest. You know, it's a quest. It's a journey we're on. And we don't have to be perfect. It just has to be a good journey. Base of the reading is the Page of Cups. This is a creative messenger bringing in new ways to look at things. And clarified by facade, exposing the facade. You know, people have seen a facade, the face of reality, and not understood what's behind it, what it means. They've misinterpreted it. And there are all kinds of new messages coming in about all these false things now. It's all coming out now. Because we've entered a channel of higher coherency in the galactic stream. There's an element of this that's universe affecting us too. But it's going to be all right, folks. Hang tight. I'll bring you up. We'll close it out. All right. That's the reading for the week. So, you know, it's all in your hands. You know, if I could tell you anything at all to help you through this week and these times, it would just be your light. Let go of fear. Honor the relations. And allow your intuition to run through your reason. And you'll be fine. I promise you. All right? See you next week. Love you guys.